All right, you know what time it is. Live from the Bare Muscle Garage, it's time for Fit Crew. What do we got in store for you today? Let's go ahead and share this on screen. So for today's workout, we've got a nice split ladder workout for you here. A lot to keep track of, but we will break it down. We've got 21, 15, 9 on calorie rows and overhead squats. And we've got a 9, 6, 3 on bar muscle ups. And we may be looking at this thinking, I don't even understand what we're doing and when, or some of these moves look kind of crazy. Don't worry, guys. As always, we're going to warm up really well. And we're going to go through all the options that will allow you to do this workout or your version of it. Right where you are, using what you have and doing what you can. But let's go ahead and start this general warm up. Here we go. Let's get some arm circles going back, arm circles back. And as you know, my name is Coach Chris. I'm a level 3 CrossFit trainer, which means I've logged thousands of hours over many years, helping many people just like you do the impossible through health and fitness. Let's move on to arms across the chest, hug yourself, love yourself. And one of the ways I've been privileged to help you guys do the impossible is through the On Track program. And for those of you who have been on track, you've definitely seen your progress. Things that you never thought possible for yourself are now just part of your warm-up and part of your daily life. And we're talking about habits both inside and outside these workouts. Let's move on to the wrist wave. And when you get on track, you get access to the full program, a full week of workouts. Along with these awesome class videos, we get additional workouts that bring us closer to the Fit Crew community and also help us to get strong and work on certain skills. Let's move on to some high knees into chest. One of my personal favorites in these on track additional workouts is Throwdown Tuesday, where I get with you guys, suffer with you guys, and it's definitely a highlight of my week. And I don't know about you guys, but it's definitely a privilege to suffer shoulder to shoulder with you guys, whether in person or over Zoom, all working together toward the same goal. Let's now move on to some calf raises. Up on the toe, back on the heel, up on the toe, back on the heel. Or we could do some wrist extensions. And then some other awesome features of the On Track sheets is getting all the workouts in advance so we can plan out our week, plan out our equipment, our space, everything along those lines. Plus, we get access to the Habit Master Challenge, which allows us to log those points, earn those badges, so we can see the power of consistency in our lives. Let's move on to some jumping jacks, or we could do some stepping jacks if we want low impact. So don't wait to get on track before getting on track. Decide right now. Now is the time. I need to get on track. Click that link that's in this video or message me directly for details, and then see the power of consistency in your life. Let's go ahead and take a break from this warm-up, guys, and we're going to move on to the activation phase, which is where we're going to do a couple different moves that are going to help us to get specifically ready for today's workout. So the first move that we're going to do is the pigeon. And let's go ahead and have Pippi demonstrate the pigeon for us. And if we are doing this from the seated position, then the pigeon is going to look like this. So let's everyone join in and let's sink into the pigeon on this side. So a couple things to keep in mind. We are laying face down. We've got the one leg up and across the chest, other leg back, and we are sinking into this pose, opening up those hips, which helps us to improve our squat form. And let's go ahead and switch sides here. And like we mentioned on this pigeon pose, we got the one leg up across the chest, which activates the glutes, relieves issues that might be going on with the IT band. And when we're talking about good squat form, we're always talking about chest up, shoulders back, knees out to the side. And that is actively what we are improving here. So good job on this pigeon. Next, we're going to do some Supermans. And let's go ahead and have Bird Dog demonstrate 2 Supermans for us. And if we are doing this from the seated position, then those Supermans are going to look like this. So let's everyone join in here and let's do 10 Supermans together. So a couple things to keep in mind. We've got those arms out in front of us, legs back, and then we are raising those arms and those legs, keeping the hands and feet as close together as possible, holding the top for about 2 seconds before going back down. And this Superman is super important to dial in that arch position and activate the entire posterior, both from the upper back into the lower back and even into those glutes and hamstrings as well. And so good job here on the Superman. Next, we're going to do some reverse plank ups. Let's go ahead and have Pippi demonstrate 2 reverse plank ups for us. And if we are doing this from the seated position, then the reverse plank up is going to look like this. So let's everyone join in and let's do 10 reverse plank ups together. So a couple things to keep in mind. We've got those arms to the side and we've got those legs out in front of us and we are squeezing the glutes, getting the hips as high as we can, getting higher and higher with each rep. Now, it could be that this is a bit hard on those wrists, in which case we can choose to do the glute bridge, just like we see Pippi doing here. And so we are pulling the feet in close to those hips, squeezing those glutes, getting the hips as high as we can at the top. But good job here on these reverse plank ups or glute bridges, if that's what we're choosing to do. Next, we got some air squats, and let's go ahead and have Pippi demonstrate 2 air squats for us. And if we're doing this from the seated position, then the air squat is going to look like this. So let's everyone join in and let's do 10 reps of the air squat together. So a couple things to keep in mind. We're starting with those feet shoulder width apart, and then we're going to initiate by sending those hips back and down, pushing the knees out to the side throughout the movement until we get all the way down. And let's see if we can push those knees out a little further, Bird Dog, and get just a little lower. And there we go. And we want to get as low as we can, getting the hips below the knees if possible, keeping the weight off the heels, or off the toes, I should say. And then we're going to drive through the middle of the foot until we get all the way to a fully standing locked out position. Now, it could be that getting those hips all the way down below the knees is a bit of a challenge for us, in which case we could choose to do some assisted squats. Let's have Betty Boop demonstrate here, where we could use a chair or a footstool or a medicine ball or whatever target is needed for assistance, but we get those hips back and sit back and down, and then we stand all the way back up. But good job here on these air squats. And next, we're going to do some good mornings. Let's go ahead and have Betty Boop demonstrate 2 good mornings for us. And if we are doing this from the seated position, then those good mornings are going to look like this. So let's everyone join in and let's do 10 good mornings together. So a couple things to keep in mind. We're going to fold those arms across the chest, and then we are going to send those hips back, getting that chest to just about parallel. And then we're going to squeeze those glutes until we get all the way to a fully standing locked out position, shoulders back at the top. And so good job here on these good mornings. Next, what I'd like everyone to do is let's go ahead and grab a broomstick or a mop, or if you haven't joined PVC crew yet, what are you waiting for? PVC is super awesome, but otherwise, something as light as a broomstick or a mop. We're going to continue warming up. Plus, we always go light before we go heavy, if at all. So with this light object in hand, we're going to do some pass-throughs, and let's go ahead and have Pippi demonstrate 2 pass-throughs for us. And if we're doing this from the seated position, then the pass-throughs are going to look like this. So let's everyone join in and let's do 10 pass-throughs together. So a couple things to keep in mind. We're going to pull that broomstick up and over, all the way around, touching that lower back in the back, belly button in the front, and Bird Dog knows the secret to a good pass-through, which is that pass-through smile, which relaxes those muscles and helps us to have a nice fluid range of motion. And so good job on these pass-throughs. Next, we're going to do some snatch grip deadlifts. And first, let's have Pippi show us how we're going to hold this thing. We've got the hook grip. So we're holding it nice and wide because we're doing some snatches. We've got the thumbs around and fingers over the thumb. And let's go ahead and see 2 snatch grip deadlifts. And if we are doing this from the seated position, then the snatch grip deadlift is going to look like this. So let's everyone join in and let's do 10 reps of the snatch grip deadlift together. So a couple things to keep in mind. At the start of the deadlift, we're going to have those hips super low, but we have the chest up, shoulders back. We are looking straight ahead. And then we're going to take a deep breath in, bracing that core, driving the ground away until we get all the way up to a fully standing locked out position, shoulders back at the top. And we want to make sure to keep that broomstick super close to the body. We should feel it go up the shin, up the thigh, and then on the way back down as well, down the thigh, down the shin. And so good job here on these snatch grip deadlifts. Next, we're going to do some snatch high pulls. Let's go ahead and have Pippi demonstrate 2 snatch high pulls for us. So starting from the ground. And if we are doing this from the seated position, then the snatch high pull is going to look like this. So let's everyone join in and let's do 10 snatch high pulls together. So a couple things to keep in mind. We are starting the very same way as that snatch grip deadlift, except as soon as we reach those knees, we are going to glute bridge and shrug, blasting that broomstick up to the upper part of the chest. And we are keeping the elbows above the broomstick. We're getting those elbows high and outside like a scarecrow at the top of the movement. And let's really get those legs going there first, Bird Dog. Let's really hit that blast with the hips and the legs and then finish with the arms at the top. So good job here on the snatch high pulls. Finally, here in the activation phase, we're going to do some power snatch. Let's go ahead and have Pippi demonstrate 2 reps of the power snatch for us. And if we are doing this from the seated position, then that power snatch is going to look like this. So let's everyone join in and let's do 10 reps of the power snatch together. So a couple things to keep in mind on the power snatch. We are starting in the same way as that snatch grip deadlift that we were just doing before. And we got those hips low, chest up, shoulders back. And then we are jumping the broomstick up with the power of the hips and the legs and punching that back, standing to finish at the top. Now, if this is a lot of jump and land for us, then we could do the muscle snatch instead. Let's have Pippi demonstrate a couple reps here. So the same starting position, same finishing position, just no jump and land. We are powering this up with the power of the legs and then flipping, punching that back. So good job here on this power snatch. Well, that is it for the activation phase. Now we're going to move on to the movement prep, which is where we're going to practice specifically the 3 moves that we're doing in today's workout. The first move is going to be the row. So if you happen to have a rowing machine like Bird Dog over here, or honestly, any type of exercise machine that you want to substitute is fine. What I'd like you to do right now is to hop on that machine. Let's do a 1-minute test to see what your calorie output is. And we'll talk about how to scale that the right way for the workout later. But most of us don't have these machines. We are the machines. We're going to do an at-home modification for the row that preserves the stimulus of pulling on that handle and using those legs. We're going to do sumo deadlift high pulls. So let's go ahead and grab that broomstick. Let's watch as Pippi demonstrates the sumo deadlift high pull. And if we are doing this from the seated position, then the sumo deadlift high pull is going to look like this. So let's everyone join in here and let's do 10 reps of the sumo deadlift high pull together. So a couple things to keep in mind. On the sumo deadlift high pull, the feet are going to be wide. The hands are going to be close together. And so the feet are just outside the shoulders, and we are driving with the power of the legs, getting to a fully standing position, and then finishing with a high pull at the top, getting the elbows high and outside. And it's very important that we do legs first, then arms to finish. We want this to be a leg-based thing, and then the arms are just keeping that bar close to the body. And so good job here on the sumo deadlift high pulls. The second move that we're doing in today's workout is overhead squats. So for sure, let's grab this broomstick to practice, and let's look on as Pippi does 2 overhead squats. And let's actually have Pippi hold the bottom of one more overhead squat so we can see a couple key things here. Notice, number 1, the full depth. She's got the hips below the knees. Number 2, she's got those arms locked out, no bend in the elbow whatsoever. And the position of the broomstick. She's got the broomstick over her ponytail or at the back part of her head. All 3 things we are working toward if we're even thinking about adding some weight to this movement. And let's go ahead and stand that back up. And if we are doing this from the seated position, then the overhead squat is going to be behind the neck press like this. So let's everyone join in and let's do 10 overhead squats together. Now it could be that, hey, you know, even in the warm-up, we weren't squatting all the way down, hips below the knees. That's fine. We can actually do some assisted squats here. Let's have Betty Boop demonstrate. We can use a chair or a footstool or whatever the case. And if this is the case, we're definitely not going any heavier than a broomstick, but we are working on the positioning, keeping that arm locked out, keeping the broomstick over the back of the head throughout the movement. But if we're doing the full movement, then we also want to think slower down, faster up. We're taking a deep breath in at the top, bracing that core, getting that full depth, keeping those arms locked out completely, and then getting all the way back up to a fully standing position. And let's make sure we're looking ahead the whole time. We don't want to look down. We want to look straight ahead here to help keep everything in alignment. And so good job here on these overhead squats. Good effort trying to get lower and lower, which is why it's important for us to definitely warm up with this broomstick. The third move that we're doing in today's workout is the bar muscle up. Now that's a very high skill body weight movement involving a pull-up bar where we start by hanging below it and then we pull ourselves up above it and then press to lock out at the top. Now, most of us don't have a pull-up bar at home. And so instead, we're actually going to do a move that helps us with the bar muscle up. We're going to do a deck squat. And what this is going to train is it's going to train the transition part of the bar muscle up, helping us to get that speed, getting the shoulders over the hips. And so let's look on as Pippi demonstrates one deck squat for us. So that's the deck squat, or as we like to call it, the roly-poly. Now, if you want to kick this up a notch and do it the more RX style, we're actually going to do something called a glute bridge get up. So what I'd like you to do is, if you're really solid on that deck squat already, let's grab a light weight and let's watch as Pippi demonstrates this glute bridge get up for us. So notice, we start by getting into that high glute bridge position, but then we come down, punch forward. The forward momentum is the most important part of that before standing back up. Now, if we are doing this from the seated position, then what I'd like you to do is, if you have a chair with handles and you feel so inclined to press on those handles and get a nice high dip, then that's what we'll do for the bar muscle ups. But otherwise, if that's not going to happen for us, then that's fine. Instead, we can grab 2 dumbbells and we can do something called an Arnold press, which is a curl into a press like this. And that's going to be a bar muscle up for today from the seated position. But let's everybody join in here and let's practice at least 5 reps of the deck squat. Now, it could be that we were looking at that like getting down to the ground, getting back up. That's absolutely crazy. It could be that we need to elevate the deck squat a little bit here. And let's actually have Bird Dog demonstrate here. We could do this off of a couch. We could do this off a bench or a chair. But the basic thing is we're going to roll back into that couch and then roll forward and stand up. And that's going to be a modified version of a deck squat for us. And Betty Boop also has this down, rolling back into the couch, standing up, preferably without the assistance of the hands. But if we're doing this off the ground, then we are either doing this glute bridge get up, getting that high glute bridge, punching forward, standing up. And that is definitely a challenge for us. Now, if you do happen to have a pull-up bar like Pippi does, then what you might want to consider doing is doing some pull-ups and some dips. And so Pippi is going to do some assisted pull-ups, getting the toes on the chair behind her, and then getting the chin over all the way back down, locking that out. And she's going to combine that with some assisted dips as well. And that's definitely another option if we have this available to us. Well, now it's ramp up time. If you've been earning badges and you'd like to add some weight to either the sumo deadlift high pull or the overhead squat, then let's start to gradually add some weight, doing about 3 to 5 practice reps at a time, adding a little bit of weight each time until we get to the weight that we want to use. And then furthermore, it could be that, hey, you know, on the overhead squat, we still have some mobility issues, and I'm not able to do the same weight on that overhead squat that I would on the row or the sumo deadlift high pull. That's completely fine. Let's go as light as we need to on that overhead squat, using a broomstick if needed. Remember, we need to make sure we're squatting low enough, keeping those arms locked out with the broomstick over the back of the head. If we're struggling with any one of those 3 things, let's keep it a broomstick on the overhead squat and maybe go a little bit heavier on the sumo deadlift high pull if we want. And especially if we have not been earning badges, let's keep it a broomstick for both. Very important that we have the right form and consistency with all our habits before we add intensity. But whether we're adding weight or not, let's pay close attention to the following checklist. Number 1, please make sure your device is fully charged or plugged in so we can get through this whole workout without losing you. Number 2, let's grab some water. Let's take a sip. And let's make sure we got our water nearby so we could take a sip as needed all throughout the workout. Number 3, I'm going to give everyone a 3, 2, 1, go countdown. And that's how you can synchronize your timer with mine if you choose to use one. Number 4, music. Super important. Your music is way better than my music. I can guarantee it. And the great thing is, you don't have to listen to my music. You can and should listen to your music. You can blast your music as loud as you want, as long as you can still hear me helping you throughout the workout. And lastly, how are we keeping track of these rounds? This is a 3-round workout. We've got some reps of some things, some reps of the other things. It's definitely going to be easy to lose our place in a workout like today. So the best way to track our progress and to make sure we're not getting lost is to have that workout written down close by. So if you're a teacher's pet like Mighty Mouse with the good handwriting first to the screen, and we got a whole lot of teacher's pets around here with some whiteboard art and other things like that, let's go ahead and take a teacher's pet picture just to show how prepared you are. Teacher's pet picture in 3, 2, 1. Awesome. I'm going to bring the workout back on screen one more time here, and then we'll get going. So in just about a minute, we're about to do this workout, which is 21 calories on the row, 21 overhead squats, and 9 bar muscle ups, followed by 15 calories on the row, 15 overhead squats, 6 bar muscle ups, and then 9 calories on the row, 9 overhead squats, 3 bar muscle ups. Now, most of us are doing the at-home version of this, which is going to be 21 sumo deadlift high pulls, followed by 21 overhead squats, and then 9 deck squats or glute bridge get-ups. So let's pick the version of the deck squat or glute bridge get-up as assisted or as challenging as we need to make that. Now, if we do happen to have a rowing machine, then whatever we got on that 1 minute test, let's use that amount of calories for the middle round, if it wasn't 15 calories. And then we can do a little bit more in the first round, maybe 1.5 times that, and then a little bit less in that last round. Maybe about half or 2/3 that. And that should be a good amount of calories for us to scale to. And then most importantly here, guys, let's really make sure on that overhead squat, we are not adding weight unless we've been earning badges and we really own that overhead squat position. If we are not getting low enough, arms are bent, and we're struggling to keep the broomstick behind the back of the head, let's just keep that broomstick. We are not adding weight. And then one more detail, yes, if you happen to have a pull-up bar and a dip station or something along those lines, you can sub pull-ups and dips. So in that first round, we're going to do 9 pull-ups and 9 dips, using as much assistance as needed for both. So your score is going to be the time it takes you to get through these 3 rounds of descending reps of sumo deadlift, high pulls, overhead squats, and deck squats or roly-polies. So if you are good to go, give me a thumbs up over here and we'll get this started. I'm going to give us a 10-second countdown, and then I'm going to highlight Pippi to get us going. So here we go, guys. 21 sumo deadlift high pulls. 21 overhead squats, as light as we need to make it. Then 9 roly-polies. And then it's all downhill from there. Starting in 10 seconds. Let's get ready. 3, 2, 1, go. And we are off on the sumo deadlift high pulls. Starting low, keeping it close to the body. Legs first, then arms at the top. Getting those elbows high and outside. And we want to take a big, deep breath at the bottom of each rep. Brace that core. Breathe out at the top. And if we happen to have a rowing machine, like we talked about, we are doing, we did that 1 minute test there. And whatever we got on that 1 minute test, if it wasn't 15 calories, then let's do about 1.5 times that in this first round. And then we'll do what we did in the 1 minute test in that middle round. And then we'll do a little bit less than that, about half or 2/3 that in the third round. Because we're looking for about 90 seconds on the row in the first round, about a minute of rowing in the second round, and then about 30 to 45 seconds of rowing in that last round. We got Pippi done with the sumo deadlift high pulls. And now moving on to these overhead squats. So let's take a deep breath in. Let's get super low, getting those hips below the knees. And she is locked and loaded, completely focused here. And we got Flash taking a deep breath in, keeping that arm locked out, getting super low. He is punching up, pulling back. Let's get just another inch lower there, Flash, and there we go. Really focus on locking out those arms, getting super low, getting stable. And we got Betty Boop using the broomstick, working on that stability there. Mighty Mouse with the behind the neck press. And we got Bird Dog wisely using a broomstick, working on that overhead stability. So nice work here, guys. So Pippi taking a quick strategic break and then finishing off this set of the 21 in these overhead squats. And then after these 21 overhead squats, we're going to do 9 of either the roly-polies, or if you happen to have a pull-up bar like Pippi, she is about to now do the 9 assisted pull-ups, followed by 9 assisted dips. We got bird dog done. And bird dog is about to hit these deck squats here. And I'd like to challenge you, bird dog. You're able to do those glute bridge get-ups. So what I'd like you to do is, there we go, lay on the ground, get that glute bridge going on, hit that punch, hit that stand. Boom, there we go. And then every single time we are getting down, getting that glute bridge into that punch and stand. That's some added challenge we got there. And we got Pippi getting some assisted dips, which is basically elevated reverse plank ups. You know, we were doing those reverse plank ups in the warm-up, and that's what she's doing here. She's got those hands up on a chair or a bench or whatever you're using, and still getting those hips all the way up at the top. And we got Mighty Mouse hitting these standing side steps here. And so that's what she is doing for these muscle ups. She's doing 9 sets of these 2 steps. And love to see the progress Mighty Mouse has been making. But we are now working our way down. We're on the round of 15 on the sumo deadlift high pulls. Bird dog in the middle round of the row here. So shooting to get that same amount of calorie from the test in the same minute here. And things always feel different after we're more tired in the workout, but that's why we push and do the best we can. And we got Betty Boop. And let's make sure on these sumo deadlift high pulls, guys, we're getting those hips super low at the bottom, hips super low, and we're using the legs to power this movement. So Pippi finishing 15, taking a quick strategic break. Flash getting through these 15 here, getting low, pulling high. And now we got Pippi on these 15 overhead squats. Deep breath in, stand braced, getting low, standing that up. So nice work there, Pippi. Bird dog joining in on these 15 overhead squats. Deep breath in, getting low, standing that up. Nice work here, guys. Deep breath in, getting low as we can go. And we got Mighty Mouse about to move on to this round of 6 side steps. Boom. So nice work there, Mighty Mouse. And everyone here making their way through this second round. Bird dog about to get these glute bridge get-ups. So, boom, getting those hips, hitting that punch, standing that out. Pippi as well, hitting these 6 pull-ups followed by the 6 dips. And we got Flash on the roly-polies, getting back, punching forward. Let's get more forward there, Flash. It's about that big punch through. Let's punch forward, stand that up. Better, getting there, Flash. Let's keep working on it. If you need to do it off of a low chair or a bench or something, that's something to think about too. But Bird Dog making a mark, about to move on to this last round here. And we also got Mighty Mouse on this last round. Betty Boop finishing off the second round. Pippi on this last round. So this is 9 sumo deadlift high pulls. Mighty Mouse already on these 9 behind the neck press, and she is looking to finish toward the lower end of this target window. So nice work here, guys. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Flash joining in on this last round. And flash on these overhead squats. Pippi about to join in on some overhead squats. So deep breath in, getting low, standing that out. Making our way through this.
Good.
And it looks like Mighty Mouse sneaking across the finish line. Great work there, Mighty Mouse. And let's cheer on our Fit Crew family. Making our way through. And there goes Pippi moving on to this last set of 3 pull-ups and 3 dips. Getting that chin above, all the way down. Flash about to hit the last 3 roly-polies. Betty Boop on these roly-polies. Bird Dog on these last 3 glute bridge get-ups.
Good.
And there goes Flash across the finish line. Betty Boop as well across the finish line. Bird Dog across the finish line. And we got Pippi across the finish line. Man, that was super exciting to see that climactic finish. But now we're moving on to the best part of the workout, which is the cool down stretch. And this stretch is super important to help us fight soreness, increase flexibility, so we can come back day after day, staying consistent and committed. So the first stretch that we're going to do today is the child's pose stretch. And that's going to be where we get those arms out in front of us, hips back, and we are sinking into this pose like this. Optionally, as a bonus, if you have a surface, you can get your hands up elevated and drop the chest like that. That's super awesome. And while we're here, let's reflect on the workout. Let's do some high-low buffalo. Let's hear first from Pippi. And if we're doing this from the seated position, we're going to get those hands on the shoulder blades and pull back like this. But what is your high-low buffalo, Pippi?
I think the sumo deadlift high pull, I felt like my form was good on that, trying to use my legs. Low was my, it's a challenge, the pull-ups and the dips, but the buffalo ones, I thought, I might have to, even assisted, it's tough, but I thought I might go to the deck squats, but I thought, stick it out, try to stick it out, and I did, and so I felt good about that, because considering when I started, I couldn't even do any of that or even a dip or anything. So I feel at least good about my progress with that.
And that's awesome to see your progress as well. And as you know, most of this progress is mental. So I'm so glad you set a goal for yourself and you were able to stick with it throughout the workout. Let's go ahead now and let's switch to puppy dog. So we've got the hips over the knees, chest into the ground. And we are sinking into this like this. And while we're doing this, let's hear a high-low buffalo from Betty Boop. And we're doing this from the seated position. We're going to get those hands on the shoulder blades and pull back like this. But what is your high-low buffalo, Betty Boop?
Oh, man. See, my high was that I was able to do it. My low was that I chose a lightweight for the overhead squat, and my buffalo is that I kind of completed it in tune with everyone else. So I was kind of surprised at that, but it was good. Thanks, Coach.
And that's what happens when you make the right choices in weights and movement options. You know, every day is a new day. We come in here feeling different ways sometimes, but you did the version that was best for you. And that shows by everyone finishing within literally, I want to say 10 seconds of each other mostly. And so good job, Betty Boop. Let's go ahead and switch to thread the needle. So we got one arm forward, other arm through, and we are sinking into this like this. And while we're here, I want to hear what you guys think about the on-track program and these on-track sheets. What do you think about getting the workouts in advance? What do you think about Throwdown Tuesday? Let's hear from Bird Dog. And if we're doing this from the seated position, we're going to get the one arm across the chest and pull like this. But what do you think about being on track, Bird Dog?
Oh, I love it. Every time I get the sheets, I look forward to the week and see what I'm going to be doing. You can, if you want, pick and choose the workouts, but I definitely look forward to the most on Tuesday. Throwdown Tuesday, you're guaranteed to get to work with the group. So that's a little burst of motivation for you.
And it's definitely a highlight of my week as well to throw down with you and everyone else. And so thank you, Bird Dog. And let's go ahead and thread the needle on the other side. So we got the other arm forward, other arm through, sinking into this like this. And let me now hear from Mighty Mouse. I know Mighty Mouse, you have been on track for a while and you make use of the whole sheet and all of the features. What do you like the most about these on-track sheets?
Well, I like most about the on-track sheets is that you get all the workouts in advance, so you'll know what kind of equipment you might need to get, the style of the workout, and I also like the videos. It's a good reminder. Sometimes you may forget. You might just be going on, oh, I think you go this way, but you got those videos and the instructions to tell you exactly how that workout goes or that movement goes, and it's very helpful.
Most definitely. And I can tell that you definitely study those sheets and study those videos meticulously. So thank you so much, Mighty Mouse. Well, that's our WOD, that's our stretch, that's our high-low buffalo. You know what's left. That sweaty selfie. Because does this count if we don't take that selfie? Let's flex on the camera here, guys. And let's take this selfie. Sweaty selfie. In 3, 2, 1. And crazy face. And let's go ahead and put the fists in the middle for the cheer. On 3, 2 claps, fit crew. Here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Hey, crew.
Fit crew. Thank you guys so much. If you enjoy this program, then please give this channel a subscribe, a like, and a share. Thank you very much, and see you next time.